Welcome to today's lesson. So, I am going to continue the resultant of forces. That is the 9th lesson of your science textbook. So, under resultant of forces, we have already discussed what collinear forces are and the resultant of collinear forces acting in the same direction. So, now I am going to discuss resultant of two collinear forces acting along opposite directions. So, you all know the meaning of collinear force. What is that, students? They have to have the same line of action. That's the important thing. So, with that, we'll look at this example. You're familiar with tug of war or pulling a rope during the New Year season. This is a very common game that is played all around the country. So, you're very familiar with that. So, now here what happens is the people are divided into two groups and one group pulls towards one direction and the other group pulls in the opposite direction. So, here if we take the pull force is in this direction, another pull force in the opposite direction. So, how do we identify the winner? You all can remember normally there is a red color ribbon or kind of a band tied there, and when that passes a certain point, let's say if these groups, the group with people A, B, C, D and E, if they pull harder, this point will pass the midpoint and this group wins. Instead, if this group pulls harder, that is people F, G, H, I and J, if they pull harder, this midpoint will pass the win point. So, then this group will win. So, here what are they doing? All are pulling. So, if these people pull, they are pulling the rope along this point. So, the line of action is the same. Their force is in one direction. This group is also pulling the same rope. So, the line of action is the same, but the direction of the force is opposite. So, depending on the difference between the forces, when one team applies a greater force, that team wins. So, if one force is greater than the other, the object moves towards the greater force. That is how the resultant acts here. So, if we denote this as an object, now here there is a force in this direction, there is a force in this direction. Let's say both the teams apply 100 Newton force, equal forces. Then what do you think? Equal forces, opposite direction, what happens to the resultant? One person pulls, the other person pulls from the opposite side and they pull with equal forces. Will the object move? Will this point move towards one direction? No. You have seen that happening. So, that means here the resultant is going to be 0. So, here equal forces, opposite direction, resultant will be 0, object will be at rest. But let's take, we have another instance. You have the object here. This group, the second group pulls with 150 Newton force, while the first group is only pulling with 100 Newton force. What will happen to the object or the midpoint? Move in this direction. Why is that? One force is greater. So, when there are two collinear forces acting in the opposite direction, one force is greater than the other one, the object moves towards the greater force. There will be a resultant force there. We will try to understand how we can calculate the resultant force. Is that okay, students? So when the forces are opposite, the resultant will be 0. The forces will get cancelled off. It will become like a non-existing force or non-utilized force. So therefore, object will not move. Here also, if this is 100 Newton, they will be cancelled off. But here there is an additional 50 Newton. That is why the object moves in this direction. So I am sure you all can understand what collinear forces acting in opposite direction can do. So we will try to understand that further. To do that, we have to carry out this activity. Find the resultant of two collinear forces acting in opposite direction. So here we need to carry out this activity. For that, we need these materials. We need a trolley. Then we need Newton balances. Then we need pulleys. So there should be 2 pulleys and 2 Newton balances. So again, we have to place the trolley on a smooth horizontal table or a surface. Then we need to tie strings, thread or twine which are very strong, which won't break off halfway. We have to tie that to the trolley from the 2 ends and connect the 2 Newton balances. Then apply forces from both the Newton balances and observe what happens to the trolley. So these are the materials that are needed. Now I will discuss with you all how we carry out this activity. So this is the method. First look at the diagram, students. You all can see here. So there is this surface, a smooth horizontal surface. A trolley is placed there. You can see the strings attached from either sides. So here also, if there are rings connected or hooks connected to the trolley, we can tie the string to that hook, or else we can put a nail, attach a nail to the trolley, and to that we can tie the string. And then you can see there is Newton balance A on this side and the Newton balance B on the other side, opposite directions. So here you can see the line of action. If we connect these 2 points, students, you can see that is a rough diagram that I have drawn. It will be in the same line of action. So that is how we do this activity. So collinear forces, the line of action is the same, but they are going to be in opposite directions. And we will see what happens to the trolley. So the method: place the trolley on a table as shown and fix 2 pieces of string to the ends of the trolley, to the 2 ends of the trolley. Allow the other ends of the pieces of string to pass over the 2 pulleys. So there are 2 smooth pulleys and attach 2 Newton balances A and B. All that is shown to you. Record your observations on the motion of the trolley after applying a 4 Newton force on each balance. So here, students, according to the activity given in the textbook, you are supposed to apply 4 Newton force. Then record your observations on the motion of the trolley after applying a 4 Newton force on the balance A and 6 Newton force on the balance B. So here we apply equal forces, 4 Newton force in A, 4 Newton force in B. Then you have to observe what happens to the trolley. Then what we do is we apply 4 Newton for A and 6 Newton for B. Different forces, they are not equal. Then you observe what happens to the trolley. Then again repeat the above steps, applying a 6 Newton force on the balance B and 6 Newton force on the balance A. Here again we apply equal forces, 6 Newton force, but we apply equal forces on both balances greater than the first instance. So initially, if you look at what the values are going to be, 4 Newton, 4 Newton. Here we are going to have 4 Newton, 6 Newton. Then we have 6 Newton, 6 Newton. If you like, you can also make this 6 Newton and this as 4 Newton. In addition to that, if you all like, you all can repeat the activity further by applying equal magnitudes to both A and B and different magnitudes to A and B. So then also you will be able to understand what happens when we apply collinear forces in the opposite direction. So I am sure this is a simple activity. You all would have understood the procedure clearly. So let's go to the lab and do this activity now. Okay, students. So now we are going to observe the resultant of two collinear forces acting in the opposite direction. So here, as you can see, we have Newton balance A and there are Newton balance B. When I am pulling them simultaneously, you will understand or you can see that they will be acting in the opposite directions because they are tied to two ends of the trolley. And to give a weight to the trolley, we have placed a weight on the trolley as well. And you can see the setup here. The two balances have to move freely. That is why the trolley has been placed on a platform that is fixed to two stands. According to the activity in our textbook, students, we need to apply forces of 4 Newton and 6 Newtons on both the balances. But here I am going to apply 2 Newton and 4 Newton forces. So initially I will be pulling balance A and balance B with 2 Newton force. Then you can observe what happens. Then what I will do is I will increase the force of balance A to 4 Newtons. Then you can see what happens. Thereafter, again I will apply equal forces 4 Newtons from both the balances. So now you all can see, students, when there is no force being applied, the trolley is at rest. It's not moving. So when we apply a force only, there's going to be a resultant force. So I'm going to pull from both sides. You can see here, when I pull from one side, the trolley moves towards the A direction. When I apply a force from B, it moves towards B. But now I am going to apply equal forces from both the balances. You can look at the Newton balance readings. Now I am going to increase the force of balance A to 4 Newtons. Now can you all see what happens to the trolley? It's moving towards the A direction. Now if I increase the force of Newton balance B also to 4 Newtons. So now you all can see, students, both the balances have a reading of 4 Newton. That means the applied forces, collinear forces in the opposite directions are 4 Newton each. And you can see the trolley is at rest. It's not moving. So now can you all understand that, students? If I decrease the force from Newton balance A and still maintain the Newton balance B at 4 Newtons, still the same thing. You can see the trolley moving towards balance B. So from this observation, students, again if I let it to 0, it comes to the balance. So from this activity, you all can understand that when we applied different magnitudes in the opposite direction, that is the forces are collinear, the line of action is same. So there is a resultant force. That is why the trolley moves to the direction of the higher force. Whereas when we have equal magnitudes, then of course you can see that the trolley is at rest. That means the resultant of the two collinear forces in the opposite directions become 0. That is why the trolley does not move. Can you all understand that, students? So that means when there are two collinear forces acting in the opposite directions, the resultant is going to be the difference between the two forces. Okay, students, you all observed the activity clearly, but you can remember, although in our procedure that was given in our textbook, it was said to apply 4 Newton and 6 Newton forces. But you all can remember, when I carried out the activity, I applied different magnitudes of forces. I explained that to you all during the procedure. When I explained the method also, I explained to you all, you can apply any magnitude of force. Only thing is, at certain instances, we have to have equal magnitudes for A and B. At other instances, different magnitudes for A and B. So now I will write down the observations, Newton balance A and Newton balance B readings, and you all know what happened to the trolley. So here I applied 2 Newton force to Newton balance A, at the same time 2 Newton force to Newton balance B. What happened to the trolley? The trolley was at rest, or it did not move. I will write it as rest. You can also say did not move. Did not move. Then what did I do? I applied 4 Newton force, 4 Newton force. Still the trolley did not move. Then what did we do? We applied 2 Newton force to Newton balance A and 4 Newton force to Newton balance B. Then what happened? Trolley moved towards balance B. So, moved towards balance B. And after that, again I used 4 Newton force here and 2 Newton force there. That is Newton balance A 4 Newton force, Newton balance B 2 Newton force. There also you were able to see the movement of the trolley, but in what direction? Towards Newton balance A. So here you can say moved towards balance A. So that was the observation that we got. So students, from these observations, what can you conclude? Now you can see 2 Newton, 2 Newton. Opposite direction, equal magnitude. The trolley did not move, so the object was at rest. So what does that mean? The resultant force is 0. I told you all that before also. You all are familiar with the Newton's law. So that means both the forces cancelled off each other. That is how the resultant becomes 0. So if we consider the first instance, now we had the trolley, 2 Newton this way, 2 Newton this way. Trolley didn't move. Move. That means resultant is 0. So you all can understand that. How do we get 0? 2 in one direction, 2 in the opposite direction. So here it should have been 2 Newton minus 2 Newton. So 0. Then when we had a similar instance, 4 Newton forces. That also gives rise to the same observation. You have 4 Newton force each. Then trolley didn't move, did not move, so resultant 0. So how do you get this resultant force? If you subtract 4 from 4 Newton, 4 Newton minus 4 Newton will be 0. Then in the next two instances, initially you can remember we had the trolley like this. If we say we apply a force of 4 Newton here, 2 Newton towards this side. How did the trolley move? Trolley moved in this direction. So that means there is a resultant force towards 4 Newton. So here, out of the two forces, 4 Newtons is the larger force. So here we can say, out of the two forces, 4 Newton is the larger force. Trolley moved in that direction. That means the resultant force is in the direction of the larger force. So how do you think we can find the magnitude? Now, if you want to find the resultant force, we said it is the sum of the two forces, but here the forces are in opposite direction. The movement is towards the larger force, so it has to be the difference between the two forces. Earlier also, to get the resultant 0, we subtracted one force from the other. So here, from the large force, we subtract the smaller force. So the resultant force will be 2 Newton. Difference between the two forces in the direction of the larger force. The same thing when you have the two forces the other way around. Earlier, if we had Newton balance A as 4 Newton, Newton balance B as 2 Newton, trolley moves towards the direction of A. If we have 4 Newton in balance B and 2 Newton in balance A, trolley moves towards balance B. So their resultant is 2 Newton again towards the direction of the greater force. So from all these, from the observations, from the values you get, we can conclude that when two collinear forces are acting in the opposite direction, the resultant will be the difference between the two forces and it will be in the direction of the higher force. So from this, we can come to that conclusion. So we can say, when two collinear forces act in the opposite direction, the resultant force is the difference between the two forces and in the direction of the larger force. So I'm sure students, you all can understand this clearly. So if I just go back to the results. So here you can see when the forces were equal, trolley did not move. That means the resultant is 0. So to get a 0 value for resultant, we have to subtract one from the other. And they are equal, so value 0. That you know. But from the last two observations, you can see the trolley moved towards the direction of the larger force. Here it moves towards B, here it moves towards A. So then to calculate the resultant, we have to subtract the smaller force from the larger force. That is what we did here. So first two instances resultant 0, then the next two instances there was a difference and we calculated the resultant. So out of the two forces, 4 Newton is the larger force. Trolley moved in that direction. That means the resultant force is in the direction of the larger force. And we calculated the resultant 4 Newton minus 2 Newton. So from that we concluded when two collinear forces act in the opposite direction, the resultant force is the difference between the two forces and in the direction of the larger force. That is what you have to understand here, students. So with that, we will try to do some calculation so you can get a better understanding there. So if we try to go through the results of the activity again, trolley doesn't move. So the trolley remains in equilibrium under the action of the two equal forces acting on it in opposite direction. Resultant is 0. So here you have to remember these terms, students. Equilibrium under the action of two equal forces acting in opposite directions. So the resultant is 0. Those were the first two instances. Then the trolley moves, there are two unequal forces. So when there are unequal forces acting on the trolley, again in opposite directions, and the trolley moves in the direction of the larger force. Trolley moves in the direction of the larger force. All what I explained to you all before. So there is a resultant force in the direction of the larger force. This is also important. So these are all the conclusions and the understanding that you can get from the activity. So with that, students, I will move on to the next slide. So here, when two collinear forces are exerted on an object in opposite direction. So what we discussed now. The resultant is given by their difference with a direction in the direction of the larger force. So if we look at some examples here, if you have an object like this. So here, let's say we apply a force of 100 Newton towards this side. If we apply a force of 50 Newtons towards this side, from the values, you can immediately say the object will move in this direction. Why? That is the larger force. Collinear forces, opposite direction, and that is the larger force. So if we try to find the resultant force, it has to be the difference. So here you can see the resultant is given by their difference. So 100 Newton minus 50 Newton. That is going to be 50 Newton. And with the direction in the direction of the larger force. So direction is going to be this way. Why the larger force is this way, the smaller force is in this direction. So the trolley moves this way. Trolley moves this way. Is that clear to you? So this is how we find the resultant force of two collinear forces acting in the opposite direction. So if the force was greater on this side, then of course the trolley would have moved this side. So that means the resultant is acting towards this direction. Is that clear to you? So I am sure, students, you have a good understanding of the collinear forces acting in opposite directions and how the resultant acts on the object. So with that, we will do some calculations. Example 1. What is the magnitude and the direction of the resultant of a force of 5 Newton pulling an object placed on a table in a certain direction and another force of 2 Newton pulling it in the opposite direction? So as I have told you all, it's easier to draw a diagram. Then it's easy to understand. So there is one force pulling the object with 5 Newton in one direction. Another force pulling with 2 Newtons in the opposite direction. So obviously immediately you all know object moves in this direction. Why? This is the larger force, this is the smaller force. And how do you find the resultant? Resultant force 5 Newton difference between the two forces minus 2 Newton. So that is going to be 3 Newton. Resultant is in that direction. So if you want, you can show the direction as well. Resultant is going to be towards the 5 Newton force. So is that clear to you all students? This is how we do the calculation. Now we will move on to the exercise. Exercise 9.2. The forces applied by two children in order to push a box resting on a horizontal plane is shown in the figure. So there is a box resting on a horizontal plane. There you can see this side there is a push, that is 15 Newton force. And from here also there is a push, 11 Newton force. Although the forces are shown this way, you can understand they are acting in the opposite direction. So far we had the object in the middle. We showed the forces away from the box. Here both are push, but still you can see the push forces are in opposite direction. So find the resultant of the two forces. So that and these are going to be similar. This is similar to having the 11 Newton this way and 15 Newton that way. Can you all understand the similarity? I am sure you all can understand that. So if we find the resultant force equals the difference between the two forces. So 15 Newton is the higher force. We take 15 Newton minus 11 Newton smaller force. 15 minus 11, 4 Newtons. And what is the direction? Here you can see it is this direction. So towards that direction. That is the resultant force. Is that clear to you? Even from this, if you are confused there, you can look at this diagram. When there is a push, that means it's towards this direction, and the 11 Newton towards this direction. So 15 minus 11 in that direction. Same as this instant. So these arrows, you all are familiar with that. I am sure you know is depending on how we exert the force, whether we push or pull. So here it's push. Here this is exerted as pull. That is the only difference. But they give rise to the same effect. So what is the important thing here? You have to see whether they are in the same line of action. So whether they are collinear forces or not. And when they are collinear forces, you have to observe whether it's in the same direction or the opposite direction. Same direction, it gets added up. Opposite direction, you calculate the difference like this. So with that, students, I will move on to the next slide. The second question, a force of 10 Newton is applied towards the west. So here you can see a force of 10 Newton applied towards the west. So if you can remember, since they say west, then you know this side is west. Anyway, you are familiar with the directions. So this is applied towards the west. Then, if the object is drawn towards the west with a force of magnitude 5 Newton, what is the magnitude of force X? So, if you look at the diagram clearly, they have told you a 10 Newton force is applied towards the west. But here you can see there is another force X that is being applied in the opposite direction. So, that is going to be towards the east. That's what you can guess from, or you can understand from this diagram. But they say if the object is drawn towards the west, it's drawn towards the west with a force of magnitude 5 Newton. So here, if you take the, obviously, these two are opposite forces, collinear opposite forces. So then, what is going to be the resultant? Resultant force has to be 10 Newton minus x, difference between the two forces. And here they have given the value for the resultant, 5 Newton force. So resultant is already given to you, 5 Newton, and they have said it is towards the west, so towards the direction of the 10 Newton force. If it was towards x, then you have to write the equation the other way. So here, since the object moves towards 10 Newton, we have 10 Newton first minus x. So 5 Newton, that is the resultant force, is equal to 10 Newton minus x. That's how you get the resultant force, no? So if we rearrange this equation, you can see x equals 10 Newton minus 5 Newton. You have to take x to this side and subtract 5 from 10. So 10 Newton minus 5 Newton. So that is going to be 5 Newton. What is the direction? Towards, here we have calculated x. So it has to be east, towards east. Or since the direction is shown to you, you can even write it as 5 Newton this way. Either way is fine. So we have found the magnitude. A very simple calculation. I am sure you all were also able to do it correctly. So with that, students, I have completed the discussion on resultant of two collinear forces acting in the opposite direction. So here we have resultant of two parallel forces. So far it was collinear forces, now it is parallel forces. You all know the meaning of parallel. When there are two lines, if the distance between the two lines does not change, those are parallel lines. So similarly, the line of action of the forces have to be parallel. So here again, we look at a similar example. When a car breaks down, what happens? You try to push it. So here there is one person trying to push a motor car just with 150 Newton. So here car does not move. Does not move. But here you can see two people are pushing, two persons pushing the car, and you can see one person is applying a force of 150 Newton, other person 200 Newton. And here you can see car moves in this direction. Why? These people are pushing it from behind. Obviously, the car has to move forward. So from this also, you can understand when there are more than one forces acting on an object, there is a resultant force. So here, since you can see they are in the same direction, you can understand the individual forces add up to give the resultant force. And they are acting in the same direction. So the resultant is also going to be in the same direction. But only thing is, here the line of action of the two forces are different. They are parallel. That's the only difference. So if we try to understand this using a diagram, if this is the car, so here you can see one person pushing. Here you can see, students, there is an additional force, two forces, they are parallel forces. So let's say I haven't drawn it according to the scale. Normally you all know the length of the arrow that is used to indicate the force indicates the magnitude of the force. But here I have just drawn it to show what happens to the object. We'll say this is the 150 Newton force and this is the 200 Newton force. The magnitudes are different. But what is important is that they are acting in the same direction. So that's important. Same direction. But the line of action of forces, that is parallel. The forces are parallel. So what is the resultant? Resultant force is the sum of the individual forces. So here 100 Newton, 200 Newton. They get added up. There will be a resultant of 350 Newton in the same direction as these two forces. That is why when one person pushes, car doesn't move. When two people push, the car moves. So I am sure you all can understand this concept clearly. So with that, students, I will move on to the next slide. Here again we try to do an activity to understand parallel forces. Activity: demonstrate that the resultant of two parallel forces are equal to the sum of individual forces. So I explained that to you all before also. Here we are trying to understand that. So these are the materials required, students. We need a strip of wood or a plank of wood. We can say strip or plank of wood. Wood, you can see, with 3 holes. 3 holes as shown. Or you can even get the strip of wood, you can drill the holes as well. Then we need Newton balances. Here we need 3 Newton balances. So from the diagram you can see there are 3 holes. We will need to attach Newton balances to all the 3 holes, but in a certain way where you apply 2 parallel forces and you try to calculate the resultant of those 2 parallel forces. So let's see how we can do this activity. So this is the diagram related to the activity. You can see here the strip of wood is there. There the holes have been made and nails have been, screw nails have been nailed into it, and then you can see the Newton balances. So I told you all we need 3 Newton balances. Now A and B are going to be the parallel forces. When we pull the Newton balances A and B, they will exert the parallel forces in the same direction. And here, while we pull the Newton balance A and B, we have to make sure that the strip of wood does not move. How can you do that? We can pull in the opposite direction here. So this is going to pull this way, B is going to be pulled that way. Those are the parallel forces. So those two are the A and B are the parallel forces. Then to find the resultant, we use C in the opposite direction. So while we do that, the strip of wood has to remain stationary. It should not move. And at the same time, you have to get the readings of A, B and C. If we go through the method, drill 3 holes X, Y and Z on the strip of wood. So here the holes are X, Y and Z. Attach the 3 Newton balances A, B and C. Pull the 3 balances, keeping the strip of wood to be in a rest position. So here the strip of wood has to be at rest. That's the important thing. When we pull also, this has to be at rest. What is the meaning of rest, students? Here C is in one direction. C is going to be this way. This is C and this side it is going to be A plus B. but the resultant equals 0. Why? C will be equal to A plus B. That is why the object or the plank, the strip of wood, is at rest. So that is how we are trying to find the value of A plus B, resultant of A plus B. So you know the reading of C, you know because the strip of wood is at rest, the resultant is 0. That means C is equal to A plus B. So now you have understood the activity clearly. We will try to do this activity in the lab. Okay, students. So now we are going to observe the resultant of two parallel forces acting in the same direction. So here I have Newton balance A and B. Using those two balances, I am going to apply the two parallel forces in the same direction. So I am going to pull the balances towards me, and at the same time we have to make sure that this wooden plank is straight. And at that time, when you get the reading of Newton balance C, you will see that the magnitude of that reading is equal to the magnitude of the resultant force of the two parallel forces in the same direction. So that is what you have to observe. You have to observe the readings of all three balances. I am going to apply the force from balance A and balance B. First, I will apply equal forces on both Newton balance A and Newton balance B. We will start with 1 Newton force. So, I will have to have the two Newton balances above the surface, and then if I pull, you can see when I am pulling the two balances, you can see the change in the. Now can you all see the reading of the two Newton balances A and B? They are 1 Newton each, and then at the same time you can see a reading of 2 Newton. So then when I make it to 2 Newton each, so you all can see, students, balance A and balance B, the reading is 2 Newton each, and at the same time the Newton balance C has a reading of 4 newtons. Then if we further increase it to 2.5 newtons, then also you will see there is an increase in Newton balance C. So from that, you all can understand, students, that the resultant of these two parallel forces, that is A and B, acting in the same direction is equal to the magnitude of the reading that is observed from Newton balance C. But here we applied equal forces. Why is that? So that the plank will remain at equilibrium, or it will remain straight. What if we apply different magnitudes of force? Let's say I apply 1 Newton from balance A and 2 Newtons from balance B. So here I made these two 1 Newton, and then from Newton balance B I am going to apply 2 Newton force. Can you all see the change? There the plank is at an angle, but still you all can see the reading of Newton balance C, that is 3 newtons. Since these two are parallel, you can see those are acting, the line of actions are parallel to each other. Therefore, still the resultant of the two parallel forces acting in the same direction is the sum of the two parallel forces. Is that clear to you all, students? So even if I change it the other way around, 1 Newton from Newton balance B and 2 Newtons from Newton balance A. Here also, students, you all can see still the reading of Newton balance C is 3 Newton. So that again confirms our observation. Is that clear to you all? Okay. So from these observations, students, we can confirm or we can understand that the sum of the two parallel forces acting in the same direction will be equal to the resultant of the two parallel forces acting in the same direction. Okay, students. So you were able to observe the activity clearly. you were able to see that the strip of wood, the plank of wood was kept at the same position. We should not let it to move. At the same time, I got a help from a student to pull the balances as well. So you were able to see that we applied the same forces from Newton balance A and B. And you were able to get the reading, or you were able to observe the reading of Newton balance C. And also what happened to the plank. In all instances, we tried to keep the plank at rest. So if I write down the observations here, Newton balance A, 1 Newton, Newton balance B, 1 Newton, Newton balance C, 2 Newton. So here, strip of wood at rest. Then what happened in the second instance? If you can remember, I applied a force of 1.5 Newton in both Newton balance A and B. We were supposed to apply equal magnitudes of force. Newton balance C, you saw the reading 3 Newton, and again the strip of wood was at rest. Then again, I did the activity applying 2 Newton force using balance A and balance B. Then what was the reading at Newton balance C? It was 4 Newton, and again the strip of wood was at rest. So you were able to observe all those. Then again I did the activity, continuing the activity using 2.5 Newton. There also, when both were equal to 2.5 Newton, you were able to see that the Newton balance C, the reading was 5 Newtons, and still the strip of wood did not move. So those were the observations that we got from the activity. So then students, what can you understand from this observation? So here, if we calculate the resultant from Newton balance A and B, resultant force of A and B. So what can you see from there? 1 Newton, 1 Newton, that is equal to 2 Newtons. That was the reading of Newton balance C. Again 1.5, 1.5 Newton. So the sum is 3 Newton. That's again equal to Newton balance C. 2 Newton, 2 Newton, 4 Newtons, again equal to Newton balance C. So resultant force of A and B, that is given as A plus B, that was equal to C. So as I explained to you all students, when you have an object like this, you pull with A, B, and in the other direction you pull with C. So when these two forces are considered, we get the resultant by calculating A plus B. But for the object, it was at rest. So that means the resultant of all three forces is 0. So resultant of the three forces equals 0. So from that only we get the relationship A plus B minus C 0. Therefore, A plus B equals C. So this is what we have received here. So from this, you can confirm the resultant of the two parallel forces A and B acting in the same direction is the sum of the two individual forces. So that is the conclusion you can get from here. So we can say resultant of two parallel forces acting in the same direction is the sum of the individual forces in the same direction. So that is how we calculate the resultant forces. So with that, students, I will move on to the next slide. What is your observation when the strip of wood is at rest? You were able to see the sum of the readings of the Newton balances A and B is equal to that of the Newton balance C. That is what I explained to you all just now. What is the reason for this? The resultant of the two forces on A and B is equal to the magnitude of the force on C. But because they are in the opposite direction, the resultant of all three forces becomes 0. That is why the strip of wood does not move. So, if you are to calculate the resultant of forces, that is parallel forces acting in an object, let's say if this was 10 Newton, this was 15 Newton. So, the resultant force equals the sum of the two forces 10 Newton and 15 Newton. So, it will be 25 Newton in that same direction. So, is that clear to you all, students? I am sure you all can understand this. So, then we can do some calculations. The resultant of two parallel forces acting along the same direction is the sum of two forces. So, if I write that again here, if F1 and F2 are parallel forces, then resultant force equals F1 plus F2. That is what is given to you here. So, with that, students, we will move on to the calculations. Example 1. Two strong strings attached to a trolley is pulled by a force of 8 Newton on one string and a force of 16 Newton on the other string, keeping the two strings parallel. So, here the two strings have to be parallel. One is pulled with 8 Newton force, the other one with 16 Newton force. So, same direction. Find the resultant of these two forces. So, I am sure you can find the value. What is the resultant of forces? Resultant forces. We can say resultant force, that is the final value. When we refer to it, we can say resultant of the two forces. So, resultant force is 8 Newton plus 16 Newton. That is going to be 24 Newton. Again in this direction. So, here students, mostly I am using the direction as well. So, you become familiar with what is happening there. So, a simple example. When you have two parallel forces in the same direction, resultant is the sum of the two individual forces in the same direction of the individual forces as well. So, that is how we do the calculation. With that, I will move on to the next slide where we have the exercise. So, here you can see the first question. When a trolley placed on a table is pulled by two strings attached to it, keeping the two strings parallel to each other, the resultant force is 20 Newton. So, here you can see in the diagram 12 Newton and B is X. But the resultant of these two, A plus B, is told as or given as 20 Newton. So, you need to find the value of X. The force exerted on the string A is 12 Newton. Find the force exerted by the string B. So here again, we write the equation, the same equation, resultant force that is equal to 12 Newton plus X by A and B. So then we know that 20 Newtons is the resultant, that is equal to 12 Newton plus X. So if you rearrange 20 Newton minus 12 Newton, you get X. So 20 minus 12, 8 Newton is X. So the force exerted by string B. The force exerted by string B is 8 Newton. That is the force exerted there. So now can you all understand the different formats of the question? So before you go to the calculation, you have to first understand how the forces are acting on the object and what they are asking you to calculate. Then it is very easy to calculate the required value. So with that, students, I have completed the discussion on the resultant of two parallel forces acting in the same direction. So normally when we say parallel forces, it is understood that they have to be in the same direction. So there we have calculated the resultant as well. So far I have discussed collinear forces acting in the same direction, collinear forces acting in the opposite direction, and then two parallel forces. So I will move on to the next topic, that is the inclined forces acting on an object. So resultant of two inclined forces. Now look at the diagram given to you. So this is an object. You can see it has a irregular shape. Any object is fine. But here look at the two forces acting on it. One force is P, the other force is Q. And can you see the angle between the two forces? It is at a certain angle. When we said collinear forces, it was like in the same direction, or it was either opposite direction, or when it was parallel forces, it was like this. So there was a certain pattern there. But here there is a certain angle between the two forces. So we have this particular object, there is this force and this force. The two forces are at an angle, P and Q. So how will the object move? You have seen this happening, students. Sometimes for fun, what you do is you have a large load of weight, you tie the twine around it, one person pulls from one direction, the other pulls from the other direction at an angle. Then what happens to the object? Does it move towards P? No. Does it move towards Q only? No. But it moves in a direction between P and Q. So here this moves in a direction between P and Q. Sometimes it might be more towards P, sometimes it might be more towards Q, or sometimes it might be right at the center, middle of the two forces. That all depends on the magnitude of the two forces as well as the angle between the two and the shape of the object. So only thing you have to remember is when there are two inclined forces, that means the forces are acting at an angle to the object. From the object, they are at an angle. So because of that, the resultant will be somewhere between the two forces. That is how the object also moves. Is that clear to you all, students? So here we are not going to do any calculations. You have to remember when there are inclined forces, the resultant will be between the two inclined forces. So the object will move in that direction. With that explanation, students, I have completed this lesson. So this is resultant of force, that is when there are more than one forces acting on an object. we discussed instances where there were two forces. So the resultant force was the result of the contributing forces. So it depends on the direction and the way the forces were exerted on the object. So I am sure you would have got a good understanding of the lesson. Now I will move on to the summary of the lesson. Summary: the single force acting in place of many forces. So when there are more than one forces, there are many forces. So the single force that is acting in place of many forces, or the single force that gives the same result as many forces, is known as the resultant force. So the lesson is on resultant force. The magnitude of the resultant of two forces acting in the same direction is the sum of the two forces. Direction of the resultant is the direction of an individual force. So that was the first time. When there are collinear forces acting in the same direction, the resultant force was the sum of the individual forces in the same direction. If the magnitudes of two collinear forces acting in opposite directions, so here same direction, here it is opposite directions, are different, then the magnitude of their resultant is equal to the difference between the two forces and acts in the direction of the larger force. So we did calculations also there. When there were two different forces with different magnitudes in the opposite direction acting along the same line of action, then the resultant is the difference between the two forces. Normally we subtract the lesser force from the higher force, and the direction of the force is in the direction of the larger force. So that is how we calculated the resultant there. Then the resultant of two inclined forces act in a direction which lies between the two forces. This is important. I told you all there is no calculation related to this, but you have to remember the resultant of two inclined forces act in the direction which lies between the two forces. So those are the different instances where you need to understand resultant forces. So I am sure you have understood the lesson well. So I am going to end this chapter now. In the next chapter, I will discuss questions starting with the questions from the textbook. So that will be the exercise from your textbook.